In the early 2000s, the U.S. airline industry was fighting for survival. Rising fuel prices, aging fleets, legacy labor costs, and an economic shock that changed aviation forever. For many airlines, bankruptcy was no longer a possibility. It was inevitable. By coincidence, or perhaps fate, Delta and Northwest would restructure their futures in the same New York bankruptcy courtroom on the same day. For both airlines, Chapter 11 wasn't about liquidation. It was about reinvention. Labor contracts renegotiated, fleets simplified, debt reduced, cost structures modernized. One of the most important figures in the Delta-Northwest story wasn't hired during the merger, he was put in place before it ever began. Richard Anderson, former CEO of Northwest Airlines, left aviation after Northwest entered bankruptcy, joined United Health Group as a senior executive. While Delta and Northwest restructured in bankruptcy court, Anderson waited on the sidelines, gaining experience running a massive, regulated enterprise outside aviation. When Delta emerged from bankruptcy in 2007, it moved quickly. Anderson hired as a senior Delta executive, soon after named CEO of Delta Airlines. This occurred before any merger announcement. This was not a coincidence. Leadership was being aligned for what came next. Roughly 1 year after Anderson took the helm, Delta announced it would merge with Northwest Airlines. This wasn't a rescue, it was a strategic combination. Although the airline kept the Delta name, Northwest's influence ran deep. Northwest executives and board members gained key seats. Balance ensured merger approval and stability. The message was clear. This would be a merger of experience, not ego. Mergers aren't won on paper. They're won on the ramp, in the cockpit, and in the cabin. Major integration challenges, pilot seniority lists, fleet harmonization, IT systems, corporate culture. Through it all, Delta avoided the prolonged labor wars that crippled other airline mergers. By the early 2010s, the new Delta Airlines had become something entirely different. World's largest airline at the time, industry-leading profitability, focus on reliability, operational excellence, premium customer experience. The airline that once fought for survival was now setting the standard. The Delta-Northwest merger didn't just reshape two airlines, it reshaped the industry, triggered further consolidation, proved legacy airlines could merge successfully, set a blueprint for future airline mergers. Every airline merger since has studied Delta-Northwest. What began as a bankruptcy survival story became one of the most successful mergers in corporate history. It wasn't luck. It wasn't timing alone. It was leadership, preparation, and the courage to change. From crisis to consolidation to global leadership. This is the story of Delta and Northwest.